Welcome to our channel. I'm Jill, my partner is Charles, and we live off the grid in Vermont. But last year we spent the winter in sunny Arizona because we had some unfinished business on the home build. We are determined to spend this winter in our new home, which happens to be a 30-foot Pacific Yurt. And yes, that is a glorified tent with vinyl walls and bubble wrap insulation about a half an inch thick. So we got started as soon as we got back home in April. First, we installed a mini split air conditioner and finished the grouting on the tile floor so we could finally put away our belongings. Then Charles finished the kitchen cabinets and we brought in our last few appliances. We also got a lot of work done on the rocket mass heater that will tie into the radiant floor heating system. But we still need to come back to that and get it finished up. Then last month, we finally got moved into the yurt, and Charles built an insulated room underneath it to enclose the plumbing. And this month, he started to work on an enclosure for a backup generator to power the property on those few rare occasions when the solar system is not quite enough. And that's where we're picking up our story today. We have maybe 3 more months before it starts to get pretty cold around here. And in that time, we need to finish the generator shed, build a woodshed, and finish the rocket mass heater. We also really want a covered porch by the winter time, so we don't have to step out our front door and into the snowdrift that has piled up from sliding off the roof and onto the platform. So we need to get back to work. But first, do you think we can do it? Let us know in the comments. The new generator runs on propane, so the shed needs to be very well ventilated. And Charles decided to fabricate his own heat shield for the exhaust pipe. I'm afraid that happened off camera, but he drilled a hole in the bottom of a can from our recycling bin and used rivets to attach what was left of the bottom to an old license plate. Then it was finally time to test out the new generator.
Hopefully test number 1. Nothing.
Well, that was anticlimactic, and it happened on a weekend, so we had to wait until Monday morning to call the manufacturer. But when Monday came and Charles went out to troubleshoot, he noticed something didn't look quite right. Good morning. Charles was planning to get on the phone with the generator people first thing this morning, and it sounds like he had some success. I'm not sure I would call that quiet, but it does sound like it's running.
Smells like a new engine running.
Why wouldn't it start?
Because I was an idiot, an electrical engineering idiot. I had the leads on the battery backwards.
What?
And nothing would work. The controller is protected against polarity being backwards, but That's why nothing would even light up on it.
Did you call them to have them tell you that?
No. Thank goodness.
You figured it out.
I figured it out. I put in a manual start in parallel with the inverter so I can turn it on from in here. The switch is right here.
Now Charles can move on to the woodshed. But there are a few dead trees right behind where he wants to build it. And we're waiting for help with that. So for now, he's just going to get the floor done and we'll move it temporarily out of the way. Good morning. Welcome to a foggy day here in Vermont. We have a friend who really knows his trees here to help Charles with a tree that is right in the way of the woodshed and fairly close to the woodpile and the yurt, so they want it to fall in a particular spot.
Heavy-duty woodshed.
The woodshed is turning out to be something that Charles is going to get knocked out in a couple of days. And we can't wait to get the wood pile moved inside the woodshed and then hopefully get some more lumber cut so we'll have enough to feed the rocket mass heater this winter. We don't know yet how much it will take to keep the yurt warm, so this will be our guinea pig year. I don't know if you have noticed on the camera, but the lighting here is really weird because we've been getting smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So Charles, It looks like you really like building sheds around here.
I like building things out of wood, especially reclaimed wood. This woodshed is extra beefy because I was able to get 2x6s, rough cut 2x6s, which means they're true 2x6, not 1.5 by 5.5. It's hefty. Everything's made out of 2x6s when some of it could be made out of lighter material, but I bought the material to build a woodshed, so I'm using it to build a woodshed.
So Charles, why are all these roof pieces different colors?
Because they are scrap pieces from a local roofer, and he sells them cheap, so we buy them cheap.
It's a foggy morning in the middle of August, and we woke up to find a woodshed on our property, but we need to put the wood in it. So that is today's task. I stole a shirt from Charles and dug some pants out of the laundry pile, and we're going to get this knocked out hopefully this morning. I think we need to get you to a safer location, little snake. Even if it means I have to get my fingers stinky. Yep, stinky.
Wipe them in the grass.
I'm gonna go wash them. It's about lunchtime, and actually it's not even lunchtime yet. I may have underestimated how long it would take to move this wood pile. But the good news is the shed is filling up. Jill from the future here. It took us a lot more snake rescue operations, and it took the whole day, but we did get the firewood moved. If you're noticing that the woodshed is not quite full, that is true. And we've marked some dead hardwood trees, so we'll be able to tell them apart from the trees that have simply lost their leaves in the fall. These dead white oak trees are actually a very sad story, so if you want to hear the details, then you should watch through the very end of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one as we race the clock to get ready for the winter. So, as I was saying, these are white oak trees and they're not very common in Vermont because they like warm weather. And 2 years ago, our county forester told us that we were lucky to have them because they might be among the trees of the future here. But on our property, the oak trees got defoliated by spongy moth caterpillars 2 years in a row. And then the following spring, as they always do, the white oaks waited until the middle of May to put out their leaves, just in case there might be a late freeze. And then we had this very unusual hard freeze on May 17th that killed pretty much the entire apple crop in Vermont and New Hampshire. The apple trees have bounced back since then, but most of the white oaks on our property were just plain dead. We do have a few here and there that are still alive, but the only other good news about that is that we should have plenty of nice firewood for the next few years.